Hey everybody, I have some wonderful special guests here from Crisis Text Line to share with us a little bit about what Crisis Text Line does. I have Maggie, who is, would we call it a volunteer?
Volunteer crisis counselor.
She would be the person, like if you texted, that's who you could get. And then we have Liz, who, what is your title actually?
I'm the Director of Communications at Crisis Text Line.
And Liz reached out to me a while ago to see how we could further the conversation and let all of you know what a wonderful resource Crisis Text Line is. So I just want to start off by asking, what is Crisis Text Line? Because I'm using that term and you're probably like, what the heck is that?
So Crisis Text Line is a free 24/7 crisis service all through text. So all you do is text 741-741 and you're connected with the trained crisis counselor.
Like Maggie. And so I know that there's different things. Does it matter what we text? Like some people say just start, or can you just say help, hi, anything?
Yeah, you can use a general keyword like hello if you're not sure where to start. Or you could just dive right into it and let us know what's going on.
Okay, cool. And is there a cost associated with it?
It is totally free.
Isn't that awesome, you guys? Obviously, as long as you have like unlimited texts.
Yes. So if you have, it's pretty much just standard data rates. So whatever you use to text your friends, it's the same thing for us.
Okay, very cool. And how do people go about becoming a volunteer or a crisis text counselor? You can call it that, maybe?
A crisis counselor, yeah. So you can apply online. It's an application that you fill out. Everything is done from your computer. So that's the application, the training, the actual volunteering is all done from your home computer.
And Maggie, I'm just curious, what got you interested in this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I studied psychology in school. I'm planning on going back to school to be a counselor, and right now I work in mental health research at UCLA.
Cool.
So while I was working at my job, I felt like the research aspect was really, it was fun and it was important and I loved doing it on the day-to-day, but I wanted to still be involved in helping and reaching people. And so I actually read an article in the New Yorker 2 years ago about Crisis Text Line, filled out my application the same day, and have been a crisis counselor ever since.
Awesome. And the training, because I know a lot of people wonder, are you a robot? Who is this? Was the training, did you feel like it was really rigorous? Like how many hours are involved? I know it's kind of both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been involved in kind of crisis support and psychology things probably since I was about 14, and this was a really, really rigorous training. It was about 34 hours when I did it 2 years ago, and it's been updated and changed since. I'm definitely not a robot. I get that question a lot. But basically, the online training takes you through learning how to listen, learning how to ask important questions about exploring what's going on with the texters, how to really listen, empathize, speak with them in a way that doesn't feel robotic, so that I can best help whoever's reaching out in whatever situation that they're in.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think it's such a cool resource available. Where do we have to live? Is there any limitation to, because I have around the world viewers, where is it available? And I know you're expanding.
Yeah, so it's available right now just in the US, but we're expanding soon to Canada, the UK, and beyond. So
Yay!
Stay tuned.
Yeah, and do you have bilingual?
Right now it is just English,
Okay.
but we're working on expanding that as well.
Okay, that's very exciting. And so I will keep you, posted. Follow me on Twitter for anything like that. And I'll put the links to all of Crisis Text Line's information so you can find out when that happens if you are outside of the US. But I think that's just really, it's such an amazing resource, you guys. And if you are struggling, it's 24/7.
Yeah,
right?
it's 24/7. And also, I think a common misconception is that it's just suicide. And we cover all crisis issues. So it could be an eating disorder, it could be abuse, it could be drug related, anything that you feel like is a crisis in that moment, we respond to.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things about it being text-based, a lot of people who feel anxious talking about their problems in front of other people, or who are in a situation where you can't physically call someone, if you're in the lunchroom and you're being bullied, you can, just looks like you're playing on your phone and you can be reaching someone who can help you. And we're always here for that.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great thing, because one of the number one complaints or questions even, is I don't know how to tell somebody face to face, because, in real life it can be kind of scary, and, it can be nice to be a little bit anonymous and text someone that's supportive and trained to be able to be empathic and understand where you're coming from. So if someone is suicidal. How do you kind of triage that? Is there something, because I know a lot of my viewers are like, well, I called the suicide hotline, totally separate from crisis text line, but I called the suicide hotline and they called the police. So I'm sure you have some kind of safety measures, because all in all, you guys, it's just to keep you safe. So what is the protocol?
Calling the police is always a last resort. We really want to help the person safety plan, get from a hot moment to a cool calm. The only time that we do call the police is if you're at imminent risk to yourself or to someone else. So that's not just having the ideation, but it's also having the means, the plan, the time frame.
Yeah, and I always talk about creating safety plans with my clients if I worry that they're a threat to themselves or even to someone else, or if anything like that is happening. And I'll put a link to the description of that video, a link in the description for that video, so you can check it out, because I think that that's kind of part of it. Is a lot of us have thoughts and know that those are completely normal. It's just how you manage them and reaching out sooner rather than later, because there are ways that we can help and assist. If someone is concerned or feels like they're in crisis, like how would you define what you cover and why someone should reach out?
Yeah. So anything that you feel like is a crisis, we consider a crisis, but we're not meant to replace a therapist or a best friend. It's really for when you're in that heat of the moment, and then we help you to safety plan and find those next steps.
Okay, awesome. And how often, I don't know, do you text like with people for really long periods of time? How often can people text in?
Yeah, so if you're in a crisis, we are always here for you. It's definitely not meant to replace a long-term therapist or kind of a plan moving forward. But we are always there to help you move from that hot moment to somewhere that you can find the resources. We'll help you find resources that are best for you, help you problem solve, think about the best way to move forward.
So kind of slowing it down. I always talk, I'm a DBT therapist, and so I talk about moving from like emotion mind to wise mind. So knowing that like you're not getting out of that panic or that extreme into kind of a more, not reactionary, but responding ability, so we can like step back. It's what we're all hoping to do, right? We take a breather, and then we can figure out what our next best steps are moving forward.
Well, and that's the cool thing about text, honestly, is that if you are in that heat of the moment, you might not remember what a friend or therapist is saying to you. We hear a lot of the times, if you're having a panic attack, you might black out, not remember, and you can actually go back through your text and see exactly what the counselor said to you later on.
Yeah, and that's a great resource, because it is true, like, especially even if I'm like maxed out, I'll have full-on phone conversations with Sean and be like, what the hell did I say? I have no idea, because I was like doing 5 things at once. So if we're in a panic or we feel like in that hot moment, that's a really great way to keep track of it and be able to go back and see the tools and techniques that they offered. I hear from a lot of you that you enjoy our community and helping others, and I always talk about how important it is to share our experience and to reach out to other Kenyans in our community to help all of us get better together. And I know that there's kind of a community around the volunteers at Crisis Text Line.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's actually one of my favorite parts, and it's definitely one of the things that's helped me be a crisis counselor for 2 years. Doing it alone on your couch, on your computer could be very lonely, especially because you're not really in a building communicating with people. But there's a crisis text line Facebook group. We have about 3,000 members almost.
Yeah. There's almost 3,000 trained volunteer crisis counselors that are actively on the platform right now.
And and when you're crisis counseling, there's always other people on the platform with you, checking in to see how you're doing, giving you suggestions on how you can do your best to reach out to the person that you're communicating with. And then even if you're not on a shift, reaching out on the Facebook group, there's always people talking about what kinds of things they need to do for self-care, or if they have been doubting themselves after a really hard shift. Everyone is there to support them, encourage them, and kind of cheer them on so that they can come back and do what needs to be done to help people.
So let's say that I wanted to become a crisis counselor and work for Crisis Text Line. How do people go about it? Are you still looking for volunteers?
We're always looking for volunteers, as long as you have up to 4 hours a week and access to the internet. You don't have to work in mental health, as long as you are invested in reaching out to other people and learning the skills to crisis counsel. You're definitely welcome.
Well, that's awesome. I will put a link in the description so that you can check it out if you're interested in becoming a crisis counselor. But thank you so much for coming on and letting us all know about this wonderful resource. And like Liz was telling me earlier, often when we're in crisis, we don't think of who to reach out to. We can freeze and we can struggle to know what to do. So I encourage you to save this number. Better yet, share this video. Share 741-741 because you never know who in your life is struggling, and we as a community can help more people get the support they need when they need it most. And if you're new to my channel, click here to subscribe, and I have other videos waiting for you, so click over there and check those out, and we will see you next time. Bye!